Hi everyone. This subject is the book of Amos 2. This is session 2. In our previous session, we studied. Uh, in our previous session, we studied chapter 6. In this session, we are going to study chapter 7. In this chapter, there are three visions. Actually, from chapter 7 to 9, Prophet Amos saw five visions. Five visions. First vision is a locust, vision of locust. Second vision is a vision of fire. Third one, the vision of plumb line. Fourth one, the vision of fruits. Fifth one is the vision of destruction of the temple. All these visions are concerning uh, a judgment or destruction of northern Israel. So, not only by the Amos is deliver the message of God concerning destruction by prophesying. He also mentioned vision that he received from God. So he make his prophecy more consolidated, more firm. That his vision, his prophecy is from God, not from his own. So as you know that many prophets saw the vision from God, vision of God. Isaiah saw the vision, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and many other. So likewise, Amos saw the vision of God. Yeah. So here and from the very beginning of the chapter, actually, God, he said, verse 1, "This is what the sovereign Lord showed me. He was preparing swarms of locusts after the king's share had been harvested, and just as the late crops were coming up." Yes, he described that he saw the vision of God and vision of locust. Locust. The book of Joel talks about the destruction of Israel by locust. So locust is used. Swarms of locust is used as the tool of delivering the destruction of God upon Israel or Judah. So again, here in Amos, swarms of locust is used to deliver the destruction of the Israel. But we see that first the vision of a locust. Amos is mediating. He's pleading to God, "Lord, please cancel this." Yeah, verse 2. See, when they had stripped the land clean, I cried out, "Sovereign Lord, forgive. How can Jacob survive? He's so small." Amos is pleading to God so that God will not practice his judgment upon Israel. So forgive Israel. He's so small. Actually, Amos is describing Israel as very little, small, not powerful, very weak subject. He did not describe the Israel as full of full of sin, full of injustice, or full of unrighteousness. But just also small, so fragile, so weak. That's why he is pleading to God, Lord, please forgive Israel. That's why verse 3, so the Lord relented. This will not happen, the Lord said. Whoa. So as we see is if it many prophets actually prophet is the kind of a mediator between God and Israel. Many people think that priest is the mediator between God and Israel, but no, actually, prophet is the mediator between God and Israel. God gives the message to prophets, and then prophet deliver the message of God to the people of Israel. This way, in a sense, prophets are kind of a deliverer of the message, and also sometimes when God is really angry with Israel or Judah, then and is about to punish them, then prophets plead to God, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Don't judge. Don't punish. Then God answers, yes. And then God cancel the judgment. So this way, prophets are the mediators between God and Israel. Okay, second vision is a vision of fire. So verse 4 says, this is what the sovereign Lord showed me. The sovereign Lord was calling for judgment by fire. It dried up the great deep and devoured the land. So when in the book of Amos, Amos described God as sovereign Lord, sovereign Lord, sovereign Lord. Why sovereign Lord? Because Lord Adonai is the God that made a covenant with Israel. So far, actually, before Amos, actually, nobody or no prophets prophesied about the destruction of Israel, or the judgment or the judgment of Israel, judgment of God upon Israel or Judah. But here, so from Amos, actually, God is he used the name, the sovereign Lord, by using this name. So God is going to judge and destroy Israel for sure. He's Almighty God. His mightiness, God's mightiness, is not demonstrated. But I mean, this God's mightiness, it will be displayed, demonstrated by judging and destroying Israel and Judah. That's why Amos is using the word sovereign Lord, sovereign Lord, sovereign Lord. In the second vision, the vision of fire, Amos is again pleading to God, please cancel this one. Please cancel this one. Verse 5, then I cried out, sovereign Lord, I beg you, stop. How can Jacob survive? He's so small. Jacob means Israel. Jacob, yeah. Israel is the new name of Jacob, right? So northern Israel is Jacob here. They are still weak and small. You see that, let's go back to verse 4. The sovereign Lord was calling for judgment by fire. It dried up the great deep and devoured the land. Great deep means great sea, the sea of, it's called, I think it is a Mediterranean Sea that northern Israel has, actually. And then the land means the entire land of northern Israel. So the fire will devour all the sea and the land, everything in it, everything in the northern Israel. But it was canceled by the pleading of Amos. And third vision is the vision of plumb line. Plumb line. What is plumb line? It's a measuring line, the line to measure. You know, it might be, a plumb line might have been used to construct all the buildings, castle, and fortresses in northern Israel, right? To construct, and that this kind of building, this building, this building became the kind of their pride. But God is going to use the plumb line to measure the people, the leaders of northern Israel, the entire society of northern Israel. Then the plumb line says that it will be what? Totally wrong. Or it's like Book of Daniel says that it is short. Yes. So the vision of plumb line tells that northern Israel, is short of justice and righteousness. Not only short of justice and righteousness, actually, they thoroughly destroyed the justice and righteousness of God, mishpat and tzedakah of God. Chapter 5, verse 7 says that there are those who turn justice into bitterness and cast righteousness to the ground. Yeah, we already saw that. The leaders, social leaders of Israel, the rich people of Israel, northern Israel, thoroughly distort the justice and righteousness of God, right? Yeah. And then the same similar phrase as chapter 6, verse 12. You have turned justice into poison and the fruit of righteousness into bitterness, right? So that's why God is going to measure the entire society of northern Israel, and then they are not right. From the very beginning, from the bottom of the building of northern Israel. Not physical building, the society itself. The society of northern Israel, from its bottom, it is totally wrong. They have no foundation of justice and righteousness of God. That's why God is going to judge them. And the verse 8 says, and the Lord asked me, what do you see, Amos? A plumb line, I replied. Then the Lord said, look, I'm setting a plumb line among my people Israel. I'll spare them no longer. Means he's going to judge them. He's going to destroy them. He's going to sweep them away. Yeah. And especially verse 9, the high places of Isaac will be destroyed, and the sanctuaries of Israel will be ruined. With my sword, I will rise against the house of Jeroboam. 3 things will be destroyed. First one, high places. Second one, sanctuaries of Israel. It's like temple. Third one, the house of Jeroboam too. Right. As you know, in the time of Jeroboam too, already high places are spread out everywhere in northern Israel and southern Judah. What did they do? What did the people of Israel and Judah do in high places? They say that they worship God, Adonai God, but actually they worship Baal and Asherah also there. So it is the epicenter of syncretism. Syncretism means that they mix religion of Yahweh, Jehovah, and religion of Baal Asherah. They mix it. They worship it together. That's why high places became the epicenter of syncretism, mixed religion. And then the sanctuaries of Israel. Yeah. Though the rich people and the leaders of Israel go to Bethel, in a temple in Bethel, and Gilgal, and Beersheba, they worship Adonai God, but actually they never practice Hesed, mercy of God, to the people, to the poor people of Israel. That's why their worship became what? Stench, bad smell to God. God never takes their worship. That's why God is going to judge and destroy the sanctuaries. And then God is going to destroy the family dynasty of Jehu. Dynasty of Jeroboam. Jeroboam belongs to the dynasty of Jehu. So he's going to finish the dynasty. Because in northern Israel, the society of northern Israel had no justice and righteousness of God. That's why. No mercy to the poor people. So Amos was preaching these things, prophesying these things, and then Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, was against him. Yes. Amaziah was hired prophet. He was hired priest. He belonged to the palace. He belonged to king. That's why he was kind of hired. And always he might have flattered the king. Trying to say good things to God, to the king. Verse 10 says, Then Amaziah the priest of Bethel sent a message to Jeroboam king of Israel. Amos is raising a conspiracy against you in the very heart of Israel. The land, verse 11, the land cannot bear all his words, for this is what Amos saying. Jeroboam will die by sword, and Israel will surely go into exile, away from their native land, actually. Amaziah the priest is reporting what Amos prophesied. But actually, Amaziah distort what Amos prophesied, actually. In verse 10, that Amos is raising a conspiracy against you. That's why actually, Jehu, in northern Israel, the kingdom, actually, they usually plan a conspiracy, and then they kill the king, and then this way they one dynasty is done, terminated, and then a new king and new dynasty came into being. So it's like when Jeroboam II heard what Amaziah reported, actually, he might have been very, very sensitive about this. But actually, Amos did not talk about like a conspiracy or something. Actually, Amos talked about the destruction of Israel, right? Destruction of the whole, not only just the dynasty of Jehu, but also the dynasty, the whole dynasty of Israel, and then the country of Israel. So This way, anyway, so the Amaziah is kind of oppressing, persecuting Amos. And then he continues to say, verse 12, then Amaziah said to Amos, get out, you seer, go back to the land of Judah, earn your bread there, and do your prophesying there. Don't prophesy anymore at Bethel, because this is the king's sanctuary and the temple of the kingdom. Yeah, that's right, probably Amos was prophesying in the center of Bethel. Bethel is the center of Samaria, and Bethel is the center of northern Israel, because in Bethel there is a sanctuary temple in northern Israel. Then he said, get out, you go back to your home place, southern Judah. Don't do here, don't prophesy here. Now the false prophet is persecuting true prophet. Historically, true prophets were persecuted by false prophets and even by kings and many leaders. So here is a kind of a stereotype of persecution. Amos, the true prophet, is persecuted by false prophet. What I mean here, Amaziah is a priest, but we can say the prophet. So false prophet Amaziah is persecuting the true prophet Amos. And then Amos, verse 14, Amos answered Amaziah, I was neither a prophet nor the son of a prophet, but I was a shepherd, and I also took care of Sycamore's fig tree. But the Lord took me from tending the flock and said to me, go prophesy to my people Israel. Now then, hear the word of the Lord, you say. Do not prophesy against Israel, and stop preaching against the descendants of Isaac. Therefore, this is what the Lord says. Okay, so Amos identified himself as not as what? Prophet. He said, I'm not the prophet, or I'm not the son of prophet. Son of prophet means like I'm not the Bible student. I'm not the student of prophet school. He never went to prophet school. He was a shepherd. He was tending a sycamore fig tree. He was tending sheep. Actually, the word he is a shepherd means noked, means a very rich shepherd who has a lot of sheep or goat or cattle. Originally, he was not a prophet, but God used him. God instantly called him, all of a sudden called him to be a prophet and sent him to northern Israel. And that's why I was sent by God. In this way, Amos identified himself to be the true prophet authorized by God. Therefore, Amos couldn't help. He had to deliver the message of God, judgment upon Israel. So Amos continues, verse 17, therefore this is what the Lord said, your wife will become a prostitute in the city, and your sons and daughters will fall by the sword. Your land will be measured and divided up, and you yourself will die a pagan country, and Israel will surely go into exile away from their native land. Yes. Here now, you have to take a note that, the confrontation between Amos and Amaziah, it comes right after the vision of plumb line. Plumb line is what? Measuring line. And in the message of Amos, he used the word, your land will be measured and divided up, because God measured Israel in plumb line. That's why they are measured. And then what? Totally wrong. Wrong building. No mercy, no mishpat and charaka, justice, no justice, no righteousness. Therefore, they'll be thoroughly destroyed. The people of Israel, the people of God, if they do not keep the covenant law, they will end up what? Being taken to Israel, exile. They'll be thoroughly destroyed. This is the message of judgment, of vision of a plumb line. So Amos was boldly preaching and delivering this message without hesitation, without he was not like Joel. Joel, ran away from, from the face of God, but Amos never did. He just he did what God wanted him to do. He was sent to northern Israel. He went, and then he was asked to preach the message and a message of judgment, and then he preached it. Even he was confronting the threat, right? Persecution. No problem for him. Yes, he did. And this is the attitude of a true prophet. Yeah. So the last message of Amos in this chapter is that, okay, the whole Israel will be taken to foreign land, and they will be thoroughly destroyed, divided up. They'll be measured, right? Yes. So as a Bible student, so you need to seriously think about this, I see so many Amaziahs in contemporary church. Though they say they are pastor, evangelists, or whatever, missionaries, they do what they are doing is like Amaziah. They are paid priests, they are paid prophets. That's why they flatter their employer. We have to say good things to God. We have to listen to God, not the people. We have to deliver the message of God. We should not distort the word of God. We should deliver the message that God asks us to deliver. This is what Amos did. Okay, in our next session, we will continue. We'll do chapter 8, the vision of fruit, and the vision of fruit. Okay, thank you very much.